Hello, everyone. This is your host, the Last Angry Geek, and with me today is the coolest cat I know, Mr. David Myers.
Not only are you so cool, you're also so blatantly honest.
Thank you. And we're going to talk about my, for lack of a better word, epic, The Search for the Geek, which followed on to Boldly Flee. And we brought David back as Cat for this. And David, just how did you get... Let's go back a bit. How did you get involved in Suburban Nights playing Cat the first time around?
I'm free, cheap labor. I was able to take a day off of work, and I was probably one of the few people Rob and Doug knew that could get off of work to do it. Oh, and I've also been to both their weddings and known them for a long time.
So it was kind of a casting call went out and like, who's available?
That's my guess, or the fact that I'm just such a wonderful guy. I made the joke or made the comment once when after doing your puppetry episode that my grandmother had done some puppetry back in the day and my mom had done puppetry, and I think they took me seriously when I mentioned that it was in my genes.
Well,
I guess it was Mr. Thurston Growl III that was the wonderful into to get us to me that part.
I played Thurston Growl. You did Mr. Kanga.
Well, I borrowed Thurston for this.
Yes, well, I brought him back, and that was a very last minute thing. That was not in the script, but then I realized I had this cat puppet, and it might be we could focus in on you once again playing a cat, although a lion in this time. For those who don't know, David has been on my show several times. He played a zombie in my review of the Walking Dead pilot. He played Mr. Kanga, the French kangaroo, on my review of the Muppet Show comic book. And most famously, Linkar and I made him eat a copy of One More Day when we did our Omit review together.
And found you cowering in your basement.
Yeah, but that wasn't really, that was like a little special. I also used your face on the second True Internet story along with our good friend Jason, who's now living in Tennessee.
So my face made mental appearances, but my body and legs more often. So it's nice to see them all my body for once.
Omit was the first time you were completely on camera, and now this. And then Suburban Nights, and now this. So when I told you I had a part for you, and you were very excited, you've always been very good about appearing on my show. For those who don't know, David's my best friend. I've known him for many years. I'm godfather to his son, so we're very close. And he's always been very, very good with helping me out on the show. But when you got the script and you read it, what did you think?
Oh, masterpiece. You finally found a good character and ran with him.
So this is the sequel of sorts to Boldly Flee. When I did my Star Wars Legacy War review many moons ago, I used that as a sequel to Suburban Nights and showed Cloak Number 1 running home from the battle. And after reading the To Boldly Flee, I kind of realized after I read it, well, I was still dead at the end. So I needed to come up with a way to bring me back. And that led to this story I wrote.
I think I only had one question on the script, or one motive question on why I would kill the witch, or how come I was so violent. Other than that, I would think I was fine with everything. I'm just a nice person by nature.
Yeah. Well, we said that the lightning bolt that blew you up at the end of Suburban Nights was actually a teleportation spell, but since it hit you and the witch at the same time, it had to teleport her as well as you. So I had to write her off, give you a reason why she hadn't come back. And frankly, I had you kill her off because I think she was the most annoying character in the whole movie.
Used a good skin crafting spell to turn her into a boat.
Yeah. The wonderful Rob Walker playing the Undertaker. Now, Rob and Doug have always been very good to me. I like to have them do a cameo or so every 6 months or so, just because I like working with them. They're both funny guys. And so Doug loaned Rob the Nostalgia Critic outfit for this, and Rob had apparently not read the script, even though I'd sent it to him like 3 or 4 times until the day he showed up for this. And he said he didn't realize you were playing Cat from Suburban Nights until he saw you start doing the role.
He read it, but didn't 1 and 1 didn't equal 2 at first, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy. I guess I didn't leave that much of a good impression, I guess.
There he is.
Yes.
This was my whole thing, that in the To Boldly Flee we had the thing with Mati where it said his character survived, so my idea is that the Nostalgia Critic's character survived and moved on into this Undertaker. So I just really like the idea of Rob playing a new version of Doug.
And it came off fairly well.
Now, we had a line here that I cut because you came in and you said, "Here we are, Geek, you're home. your studios where you did some of the best and worst comics of all time, but I had the camera too far back and was picking up too much ambient sound, so I had to really boost the volume. And there's Lewis to get your voice heard, and it just ended up, it was too obvious, the sound manipulation. It wasn't working for me, and we didn't need it, so I cut it. How hot was it out when we filmed this, David?
It was very hot. You'll see a nice glare both off of us from that reflection of the sweat. And I've got a heavy black sweatshirt, so that was just great.
Yeah. And how many takes did I have to do with my mustache kept falling off?
I would say about 12.
Yeah.
I think we ended up going with the first take, just because that's the only one where it stayed on.
Actually, it was about the third take, I think. Here's our little nod to Back to the Future 2. Yeah, this was filmed in August. I think we filmed this after the main filming of To Boldly Flee, but before I had done my part, because I came back later to do all the green screen stuff. I love that my message is to you to do something that you were already doing. You're already opening the urn, then you get a letter that says, open the urn. And apparently I made a mistake and said I'm dead, and then I had to fix it.
Batman running. Wonderful entertainment.
Yeah, I will not. It's a sad sight when I run, folks. Pray I never put it on camera. So the earlier scene in the Undertaker's office and this scene here were once again shot in our friend James's house, which was also the location for a lot of the shooting of To Boldly Flee.
And James had that classic Lost episode deal with you also.
Yeah, look on YouTube. We did a thing that I was basically told could not appear on that guy with the glasses called 25 Things I Learned from Lost, and in it I learned James was no actor. There's something about James. He talks normally. I mean, it's like, you can't not have a good conversation with him, but as soon as the camera turns on, it becomes very stilted.
But he nailed his lines.
He did, and I love the nod at the end. Yeah. Once again, The Matrix. Yeah, not too dating myself here.
30 years ago, the Geek programmed this into a disc.
David, your lines are pretty good. You sometimes messed up some of the words, but I thought you handled yourself very well.
I had a little iPad with a script that we were able to read off of.
That's right.
And this we did about 5 takes on, also different flowable words you wanted me to say in there.
Blah, blah, blah.
And there you can see nice little glares.
Fabulous might, that have him send you to one of ancient right. The bastard never could give you a straight answer.
And this is my house now. The gentleman in the black and white photo is my late grandfather. That's my brother and sister by your head. I think I'm only in one photo there. I'm wearing a Green Lantern shirt. I'm with my grandma.
How appropriate. And that's Scott you've had in any other ones before?
No, this is the first time Scott did something with us, but he was part of the infamous Inebriati Brewing Company that almost became a website, never quite happened.
You got about 5 different options for who's going to be in the closet. One of those was going to be Doug at one point?
Yeah, I mean, I had at one point thought about putting Doug in the closet via green screen, but it just kind of became I didn't kind of feel it would work, the effect. So I just ended up throwing on the Harpo outfit. I play all 3 Marx Brothers. At one point, the 3rd episode of Comic Book Issues, I went into guest hosts for this. Herlito from True Internet Story was the first guest host, then Cloak number 1 was the second guest host, and the 3rd one originally was going to be the Marx Brothers, and I was going to play them all on screen with green screen, but it was getting very complicated, and I had to figure out a way for, then Harpo was going to disappear and then reappear because of this scene, and it just became a whole kind of mess.
Just missed my favorite prop, the WWE Hall of Fame medallion.
Right.
Bret Hart.
And we had to refilm this scene.
I bounced too much, apparently.
Well, it's because I use natural lighting. I don't have any real professional lights, so we had just lost the light that day, and if it's not bright enough, the blacks kind of appear. You get the blocks of gray on them, the squares, as it becomes kind of digitized looking, and it doesn't work. So you worked about a month of Sundays. You worked like 4 days in a row coming back and refilming things, and this was also the time we filmed the cameo for Linkara's 200th episode.
That we filmed twice also?
Yeah, because again, we'd lost the light. But you came back and refilmed the green screen stuff, and then we went to see The Dark Knight Rises.
And I got a George Jetty sketch from Buffy.
Yeah, that was his payment. I bought the second Buffy sketchbook online from George Genetti's website, and he did a little Spike vampire, because who's your favorite Buffy character?
That would be Spike.
Yeah. The Garage of Secrets. Now that's my house. Again. This shot I screwed up and filmed on the wrong side of the garage, so I ended up switching it in post, just flipping it around. Several hours later.
The garage wasn't that messy, though.
Well, no, but we cleaned it up by the time we... my original.
Got some magic cards back there. You got a Sauron statue in the skull.
Yeah. That I just filmed about a week before the third episode went up. I just realized I'd had Harpo, I'd had Groucho, I needed a Chico cameo.
That's it. That's it. Just need to get back to the 21st century.
And the whole stuff about Somewhere in Time, that actually happened to me. I was about 4 years old. We watched this movie, and at the end of it, when Christopher Reeve got separated from Jane Seymour, I just burst into tears, and my parents looked at me like I'd sprouted wings and was flying around the room. I had just been watching Midnight Madness, so I put Eddie Deason in there. Opposite of Tom Baker. Now watch Dave's mouth here. Watch this. He does like 3 or 4 different smiles, and I couldn't... If I cut it too soon, the scene was too short, so I had to leave all that kind of mouth movements in.
Earth. Wind.
I'm versatile.
Fire. Heart. This is the stupidest MacGuffin.
Now this effect took a lot of work. I had to go in and shrink the garbage man I used down to get that star effect. It took a long time, but I think it really looked kind of cool.
Yes.
And this is my Ian McKellen moment.
So now I am...
As I come back as Geek the White.
Thank you, Cat. You've brought me
so
back.
This, I thought this would be like a half-hour thing, and when I finally put it together, it's like 12 and a half minutes. But, that's cool. I enjoyed working on To Boldly Flee very much. You can hear the commentary on that guy with the glasses. We had a lot of fun doing it, but I enjoyed this maybe even more because, I got to work with my friends and got
could have used some more Cat, some Boldly Flee. There was definitely missing a little cat action.
Yeah.
I could have had a mask and been a background guy running around. Slowly.
You just said running. In your So, as I said, thank you, Kat. I'll say thank you, Dave, for appearing in this for me for very little compensation. And any last... this is my favorite thing about the Geek. I like just being mean to myself as this character. Like, the whole idea that you went through all this trouble just to get me back so I could pay you the $2 I owe you.
And you took it back at the end of the shoot.
Yeah, because this is another thing we refilmed, and the first time we shot it, I didn't have the $2. And then the second time we shot it, I did. So that I think I used the later one, so those were my $2. So, David, your thoughts on Search for the Geek?
Oh, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Anytime I can get some screen time with Brian, it's worth it. Nice to bring back Cat.
Yeah. Oh, what was your initial instructions for Cat?
To make the voice sound like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man.
From the Sam Raimi films,
yeah.
And that didn't hit me until you told me that. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's...
That was the only kind of info that Rob and Doug said. It was kind of the voice like the Green Goblin, go that way.
Mm.
Other than that, free reign. Just wish I could have beat Rob up a little bit more, or Doug.
Anyone ever recognize you at the conventions we go to?
Only after you point them out.
No.
Oh, it's scary.
I hardly get recognized at the conventions I go to. So don't feel too bad about it.
So we need to get more opportunities to get your other friends highlighted. We'll get James back and Scott, and I tell you, what's your next big original work going to be?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm working on this right now. I'm putting the bloopers together. At that point, it's just more comic book issues. Hey, if you want to play a dwarf on Stark Raving?
Oh, I can do that.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have something there. See you, folks.